Hey everybody, we're going to try this again now that it seems to be getting a little bit better. So I thought I'd take a minute to do a live video, answer any questions you guys might have with regards to my setup, brewing in general, running a small brewery. Also give you a little bit of an update. My wife and I are expecting another kid in July, so we felt that it was time to get a little bit more space on our house. So that's kind of what's been going on. That's what's been keeping me from uploading videos. I had a few in the works, but with all of that kind of activity, it was best for me to focus on my family at the time. So now that things are in motion, I've kind of got to get the brewery all packed up and actually have to relicense it in a new location, which I think will be good. Will allow me to document that journey a little bit better and potentially share those learnings with everyone here. I will say that I'm happy to answer any questions with regards to my current brewery or how I got licensed in this garage, or about any of the gear. As you can see, I've actually upgraded my system. I'm no longer a 1-barrel system. I've got a 3-barrel, 2-vessel system with an instant hot water tank, which has been super in terms of making sure that my brew days are efficient. Today, I've got a bunch of cleaning to do, so I figured I might as well answer some questions while I do some cleaning. And I got to transfer a barrel fermented Brett Saison into my unit tank for conditioning and carbonation. So yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions. Otherwise, I'm just going to get going. There we go. I've just got a bunch of hot water. One of my favorite little tools for cleaning is actually a bucket warmer. Just got it on Amazon for like 35 bucks. Keeps all my PBW at exactly the temperature I need it. I'd like to clean around 150 to 170. Just seems to work a lot better. So I'm just gonna stick this bad boy in there. Keep that hot while I get everything else hooked up. Since today I've got to do a bunch of barrel work, I actually have to clean some of the tools for transferring the beer from the barrel over to my unit tank. So we're going to use the Blickman Riptide for that. This pump is really, really, really nice, really quiet, pretty powerful. All right. Good old tri-plant. Yeah, if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. I'm just going to kind of keep cleaning while we're doing this. All right, time for some PBW. And we got, that's about, there you go. Let's see how many ounces we need in here. Perfect. Just enough. Cool. Check the temp on that. All right, we're at 142. I like to start cleaning around 150. Find it works a little bit better. Yeah, so this morning I've got a bunch of little parts I need to get cleaned. I also have to sanitize my unit tank, the big one, not the other two small ones. Then I got to clean this bad boy. This is for transferring all my beer out of my barrels into the unit tank. So we'll go through all of that today. I'll let everyone follow along. But yeah, if you have any questions with regards to any of that, feel free to put it in the comments. I'll take, any questions. All right. We use. We'll use that one. We could use the big guy. Well, let's use the small guy. Now I'm going to start messing with PBW and cleaning products. I always like to have some gloves on. So the Blickman Riptide is good for a lot of this current system, even at 3 barrels, because I run my system on a rims system and it's all electric. So it just creates a constant flow of water over the grain bed. So the Blickman Riptide handles that just fine. It's also really good for cleaning and transferring wort from the mash tun into the boil kettle. I don't use it a lot for cleaning, primarily because it doesn't have enough pressure to do any kind of CIP for the 2-barrel or the 1-barrel unit tank. You definitely need something a little bit more robust, which we'll get to in a little bit. All right. Let's see where we're at temp-wise. $144. We got a little bit of time left. Yeah, so as I mentioned, fully licensed nano brewery in a residential garage, which has been great. There's definitely a lot of things I had to figure out from a federal standpoint, from a county perspective, and then also state perspective, to make sure that all my T's were crossed and I's were dotted and things could actually be approved. It's 238 square feet. I primarily brew 3-barrel batches. I've got a 2-barrel unit tank. I've got 2 1-barrel unit tanks, and then I've got 2 French oak barrels, which I use primarily for my saisons. Seems like I got moving stuff everywhere. Got to pack up. Yeah, we move in about a month. So I've got a lot of stuff to do to get the brewery ready. Yeah. Anyone got any questions? All right. We'll get this guy going. We'll circulate while we're heating. Go. Circulate and heat. So what I got going on is I got Blickman Riptide coming out, basically just circulating back up into, this is a wort grant that I use for some cleaning. I'll also use it on my mat, which basically allows you to have a vessel in between your recirculation. You can also use it. I've used it as a hot back, meaning when I'm whirlpooling in the boil kettle, I'll run wort through here with some fresh hops and a filter, and run it back into the boil kettle. So it's just a nice little multi-purpose little vessel that I got that works out really, really well for a lot of different utilities. Doing good. The other thing I'm going to clean while this is going on. This is one of the coils from my 1-barrel unitank. It's a pretty sizable coil. I'd had beer sitting in there not super clean for a while, so it built up a little bit of crud on some of the coils. So I'm just going to plop that in there while it's recirculating, let it clean multiple things. Cool, and it's submerged. Perfect. Okay. What else can I clean while that's going on? Is anyone on the channel brewing today? If so, what are you brewing? Let's see what we got up here. We got 5 people watching. Cool. It's going to clean for a few minutes. In the meantime, I'm going to check. I've already double checked my Brett Saison, but I'm going to triple check the gravity just before I transfer it today. Let's see here. So I've got a tilt hanging out in the barrel, which has been super helpful. I just log onto the tilt app, get it close enough, and we are good. We're at 10:07 and 49 degrees. It's a little chilly in my garage today. It's been in the barrel for about a month, fermenting away, and today it gets to go and get ready for packaging. There we go. All right, all that crud's coming off. Sometimes with those coils in the unitanks, doesn't get it really well with CIP. So I've gotten a couple bristle brushes, which allow me to get in, make sure it's all clean and sanitized before putting beer in. Let's see here. What else we got? Got lots of parts, buckets on buckets on buckets of parts today. Got a whole bunch of new projects that will be going in the new brewery. I got a brand new electric panel that I'll be assembling and putting together with my Raspberry Pi. This time I'm going to integrate a 7-inch touchscreen, which will be kind of fun to document and share out. Found that I can do a lot in a little bit of space. So in 238 square feet, I've got a 4-foot by 8-foot walk-in cooler. I've got a 3-barrel hot side, and I've got essentially 2, 4, 8-barrel cold side. You get it at the right temp, and everything works out great. Live chat. Oh, there we go. Cool. Oh, looks like everyone's chatting. Sorry, guys. All right, let me, it just popped up for comments. Now there's chat. Let's see here. What do we got here? EJ, it seems you are a one-man brewery. It's definitely difficult. I have a full-time job on top of this. So balancing the full-time job, brewing, then also doing sales, marketing, cleaning. It's a lot of work. Let's see here. Fabian, system. Yep, 3-barrel hot side. Cold side is a 2-barrel fermenter, 2 1-barrel fermenters, and 2 French oak barrels currently. Let's see here. How does the Pico brew batches compare to your scaled up version? You know what? I've done a ton of pilot batches on this little Pico. It's fantastic for iterating. And I found that, you know, with Beersmith, scaling it up has been no problem. Some slight adjustments or some slight differences within flavor, but nothing dramatic. I find it scales up really well with Beersmith. Let's see here. Yeah. I am able to see the chat now. Sorry, guys. Let's see here. Need to give him a call. Hop Rod, dude, glad you're on here. Been following your videos. Give him a call. Now we're cooking. All right. Yeah, if you guys got any questions, let's see if I can keep up with these in real time. But yeah, I literally have probably 4 buckets of parts that I'm cleaning because every one of these unit tanks has tons of parts, which has been fun. But I really appreciate you guys all being here. Sorry I missed the live chat feed. First time on YouTube Live, so figuring it out as I go. Groovy. All right, looks like we are clean on that. Aha, EJ, good question. So let me just rinse off that PBW. You never really want to let PBW just sit on there. So in terms of the brewery, I'm probably with all the circuits. So the boil side is a dedicated 70 amps. And I found that, you know, I probably could have used 100, but I'm fine with it just taking a little bit of extra time to get up to temp. So I've got 2 dedicated 240 volt outlets in the back, and the rest of the brewery is on, let's see here, 3 20 amp 120 breakers. So that powers the walk-in cooler, it powers the Pico, it powers my glycol chiller. So I think all in all, probably about 100 amps to the brewery. First time cleaning my new unit tank, half barrel, so guess I'm going to need to do more than just a CRV. You know, it depends on your temp and the power of your pump. So I have the, what do I got here? The Chugger Max. Power-wise, it's fantastic and works great. I would say get your PBW or cleaning product really hot and let it go for about 30 minutes. If you're finding that certain areas are not getting clean at that point, give it a little scrub and then go another 5 minutes. I find that basically when you get it going, it's a lot easier to scrub stuff off. The coil definitely is the tricky part. And then wherever the Kreuzen is on the top, sometimes that just gets caked on depending on how long you let it sit. I did find that the faster you get it cleaned after transferring beer out for packaging, the better. Cool. Yeah, it's a good pump. Brewing experience before going pro. So I had been home brewing for about 10 years. I started with just like a small little 5-gallon extract kit on my countertop in a small little studio apartment. And then it slowly grew and evolved. And then when we bought this house, I had a dedicated garage with plumbing and electrical and all that kind of fun stuff. So it was just really a matter of time before I scaled up. And when it got to the point where I had too much beer, my wife was like, maybe you should think about selling it. So then we went down the rabbit hole of whether or not I could get approved. Okay, is it easier to clean the unitank than the conical? So it's about the same experience. I found that I used to have a 15-gallon conical Brewmaster edition from SS. Very similar experience. I use a, let's see if I can find it. Oh, there it is. Stand by. So I use a 3-inch triclover CIP ball. So it just spins around in there with a lot of hot cleaning solution. And that seems to work out really well. I did find that, you know, when it comes to the Brewmaster edition, just fermenters, it was a lot easier to be able to get in there because the whole lid comes off. However, with my limited space, unitanks were the way to go for me. One vessel for cleaning versus 2. So that was incredibly helpful. But yeah, these things are great. In my big, huge hot side, it doesn't have a spinning ball. It has a solid ball with a lot of little holes all over it. Still gets that really clean. It's a little bit bigger of a cleaning thing, but it still works with the Chugger Max. I kind of want to give a test with that style CIP ball versus the spinning to see if it has a better result in the unitank. So that's definitely on my radar to give a test. All right, so that should be clean enough for this guy. We're at temp-wise. I'm gonna throw some parts in there. Okay, cool. Put that in there. So PBW, I like to keep it between 150 to 160 degrees Fahrenheit. Not quite sure what that converts to in Celsius. Sorry, Hot Rod. Maybe you can do the math. All right. Let's rinse this bad boy off. Again, I hate leaving PBW on these things because it does not like to come off. But as far as, one quick thing with regards to cleaning these unitanks. So my whole cleaning process is actually, 6cc. So the whole process for me is once I get all the product or all the beer out, moved off into packaging, I'll give it a rinse, try to get any kind of trub off. I use a bit of a high pressure hose, not a power washer by any means, just a high pressure adapter. Try to get all the loose material out before I do any CIP. Then I'll do PBW first, then I'll give it a good rinse. Then I'm going to actually do Acid 5 by 5 Star Products. So I do Acid 5, nice little acid wash, and I'll do another rinse. And then I'll do SaniClean. So that's an anti-foaming sanitizer. But if I'm not transferring beer into there right away, I won't do the SaniClean step until I'm ready. So once I get it cleaned and rinsed, then it can dry and hang out until I'm ready to actually get beer put in there, and then I'll do a SaniClean. Just hypercritical on my cleaning and my sanitization. And not using a ton of products all the time. So if I did 2 sanitizing cleans it just doesn't do anything more than doing one. How often do you have your beer in bars, etc.? Since you work full time, I'm guessing. So because I have the cool part about this and the way I have it configured is because I have a full-time job, I wanted something electric. I wanted something connected to the internet. So I do brew mostly on weekends, but there are some weekdays I do to keep up with orders. So what I'll do is because it's Raspberry Pi, I have it connected to the cloud. I can log into my system remotely from my office and actually start my mash water heating up because it's all on a RIM system. So I do that remotely, and so when I get home, I can actually just mash in and start brew day really quick. So most of the time it's one day a week. Other times it's 2 times a week. The nice thing about being small and managing your accounts is you don't have specific contracts at that point. So you can kind of brew when you need to, make sure the beer's good before it gets out. Let's see here. Nice. Okay. Not heard that, and that looks interesting. Let's see here. What do you run on a Raspberry? Craft beer pie. Absolutely. Craft beer pie is great. It's incredibly reliable. I haven't really found any issues with it. The biggest thing I'm finding lately is just they haven't done any work on it lately. I'm hoping they release a new thing soon. I'd like to see some continuing updates, but Craft Beer Pie 3.1, I think, is what I'm currently running, both on the hot side and on the cold. So I have it running my glycol loop system as well, and it controls valves to open and close. All right, can you do that? All right. Got rid of that. Let's see if that stops it. Cool. All right, so need to rinse this out. So the other kind of cool thing that I got with my sink is I've just got it hooked up to a tri-clamp, so I can always hook it on to any of my other stuff to do a quick little rinse, which has been very, very helpful. I don't know how we can't. There we go. All right, cool. I think that worked. All right, cool. I have a love-hate relationship with triclovers. I kind of miss my quick disconnects. Okay, good old rinse. Finish cleaning all my other parts before we get into anything crazy here. That guy's good and clean. It's not sanitized yet. Fill this bad boy up with parts. Ugh. Yeah, buckets on buckets of cleaning. I feel like I clean way more than I brew. thing I do like about packaging out of this guy. You know what, Hot Rod? I've been following you for a while, and you definitely look like you rebuild stuff quite a bit. It's very impressive. I'm jealous of your hard pipe configuration, by the way. All right, one bucket cleaned. Let's see here. Yeah, agreed. Hot Rod is the brewery builder. I dig all the contraptions, man. All right, what do I got here? I gotta get this sanitizer going. Buckets on buckets on buckets. Keep coming up. I got a clamp for that guy. Go. Let's see here. So in the boil kettle, I've got 3 5,500 watt elements, which brings it up from mash out to boil in around an hour, maybe a little bit less, depending on the batch size. So the really cool part is I can turn each element on and they're at different heights. So I can do a 1-barrel batch in my system, which is fantastic if I have, a one-off that I want to do or something special. And then for some of the big ones, the big brews, I can do a full 3-barrel batch and then put it in 2 different fermenters. Yeah, I like the flexibility of it. That was kind of why I pulled the trigger on it. Just allowed for a lot more things. Let's see here. All right, so we got parts in there. That thing's clean. Oh, what do we got? Oh, that's the only other one. Okay. This is a big blow-off pipe for the 2-barrel. It's huge. Running rims. Yep. In the rims tube. Where is that guy? So I've got a vertical-based rims tube from Stout Tanks in Oregon. That hooks up directly to the mash tun on the side. And inside I've got a 5,500 watt element, which, because the mash tun is fully insulated, it really holds temperature very easily. Let's get this hooked up. Can't have enough tri-clamps. And everyone keeps telling me, like, get more amps in there, bring it up to boil quicker. I haven't found any kind of, I guess, increase in any kind of quality or changes to my brews, as I've done a couple different ones at using some elements that take longer, some that, go quicker. I'm okay with it taking about an hour to get up to boil. It works out just fine. Yeah, they do. And I can't just clean this guy in a 5-gallon bucket. So same with my barrel transfer tool. I've got to hook it up and circulate. But that's why this little wort grant works out super great. Wrong hand. Oh yeah, if anyone wants to see anything, let me know. The place is a little bit of a mess since I'm packing, but I'm happy to show any parts of it. The walk-in cooler is built off of a CoolBot Pro, so I can use just a standard window AC unit to power the 4-foot by 8-foot walk-in cooler. Happy to show the parts for the new control panel, or we'll do a packaging one at some point. Because packaging a commercial keg is a little bit different than the corny kegs that I've been used to in the past. I kind of like it better though. Same concept as using a sputting valve, just more on a commercial scale. All right, circulate this bad boy, make sure there's nothing in there. Because this barrel, this Brett Saison, is going in the 2-barrel today. All right. It's super helpful. Because what I'll do is, for some of the other systems, is I'll put all my cleaning products in here. I'll also hook up a T on this with two valves. So when it comes time to changing out chemicals, I don't have to dump anything. I can just open up the T and drain it out. The one thing that I don't have in this garage that I'm going to be putting in the new one is in-floor drains. That would have been a lifesaver in this garage. But with a pump, it's pretty easy to just have it go right into my sink. All right, maintaining at 150, so we good. And I think what do you guys think about me doing a whole video on barrel stuff, like cleaning, sanitizing, all that kind of fun stuff? Yeah. So that was my old dog named Ranger. He still kind of travels with me wherever I go. Good old photo in Photoshop, and then I found a really cool frame, had it painted gold. So he just kind of hangs out. We'll do that another couple minutes. Hot Rod, what are you brewing right now? You know, EJ, I've kind of gone all over the place. I think the 3 styles that my brewery specifically brews is IPAs, saisons, and sours. I think right now saisons and sours are a little bit more fun for me because it's a little bit more of a challenge. It allows me to kind of explore a little bit new creativity with regards to that, like which kind of yeasts I use for any kettle sours. Is there any kind of interesting ingredients I can use to kind of change up the palate of it? Yeah, it's right now I think kettle sours and then also doing a lot with Brett has been super fun. Okay. Yearly cost of liquor license. So I just renewed, and I think it was 120 for my license for the state. I think it was 120. Oops, a little bit of water there. Yeah, so I think it was about 120 for that, and then on top of that, insurance, all that kind of stuff. So I mean, I think from a licensing perspective, is probably about $1,000. Let's see here, what do we got? Oh, double IPA, nice. I have yet to do a double IPA. I haven't done one since I was homebrewing. I think I might do one soon, even as a test batch. The cool part about us moving and moving into a new place and me doing relicensing and all that kind of fun stuff is the fact that like I can do a bunch of tests. So that Pico Brew is going to get a workout. We'll be doing probably back-to-back test batches for the next 60 days while the application's in the queue. All right. Okay, what do we got here? Kind of locally, moving to a different county. It's about 15 minutes away from my current residence, but it increases my garage about twice the size. So hopefully that increases my brewery for twice the size. I think I might be doing a lot more with oak in the new place than any kind of more stainless items. All right, what do we got for time to assemble this bad boy? Bottom out. Racking. Parts on parts on parts. Time to put together the 2-barrel. The one thing that I really like about the 2-barrel unit tank. So it's a full DIN fitting racking arm. This thing's fantastic. This current one? Cool. You know, the thing about the tiny brewery is like the iteration is kind of fun in how efficient you can make it and what you can get out of it. So I think that was a big thing with this. Like it might be a little bit bigger, but I was able to get it really efficient so I can actually have a 3-barrel system in here. Closet. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. All right, so DIN fitting is on. Hot Rod, I am jealous that you have such easy access to good Kvike. Because I've actually had to email a few breweries over there to try to get some flakes of strains that aren't normally available. I'm going to put these in some Sandy-Clean first. 1, 2, 3. So that does that. So many tri-clamps. So many tri-clamps. Valves on valves on valves. I think that has, where's my sampling port? It does. So I have gotten a few samples that came in small little containers with just some wort in it. I've been able to prop them out, but it definitely takes a few batches to get them really enough cell count so that way I can actually pitch it into one barrel. But it would be great to be able to go to a brewery and be like, hey, can you fill up this entire thing? All right, so try clamps. 2. Oh, I think we gotta do a sight glass on this guy. Try clamps. And then my blow off is there. Pressure is right there. The one that's not leaking. And temperature gauge. Got one of these little bad boys. Can't wait to start playing around with that. Have yet to do it. Let's see here. Anyone particularly? So I just got RVSB, which has been really fun to play with. I've got a few other batches that I kind of want to mess around with it. Start playing around with some juniper in it, kind of getting back to some traditions. Kind of playing around with that with also different hops. I've got an experimental hop from this year that's supposed to be a little bit more woodsy. So that'll be interesting to kind of play around with that style. I'm thinking maybe like a rye IPA, using some juniper, some new hops from this year, and the RVSB. Just been a really fun hop or Kvike. All right, these guys. What else do I need? Looking at this. Whoa. Okay. The tube should be clean. Yeah, rinse this bad boy out. All right, man. Dude, good to talk to you. rinsing that bad boy out. Yeah, that PVW just gets kind of caked on if you don't rinse it pretty quick. All right, man. Have a good night. Or afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Cool. Time for some Sani Clean. All right. Sanitizer done, ready. Sanitizer. All right, for the people on the channel, if you've just got here, I own a small little brewery. This is the setup. If you have any questions about brewing, becoming a pro brewer from a home brewer, how I'm able to work in the space, about my setup, tech, all those questions are open. I'm happy to answer whatever I can. While I'm cleaning, sanitizing, and I'm about to transfer my Brett Saison that's been in a French oak barrel into my 2-barrel for conditioning and carbonation and then packaging. So I'm just kind of assembling things. All right. Then that thing's got to get cleaned. All right. Very excited about that. Been waiting for this Saison to finish for a little while, so it's exciting to get it in there. It tastes awesome. I'll leave that in the sanitizer for a couple minutes. Let's make sure it gets nice and clean. I don't want no bugs. Moose Hill. I'll write you guys down. Ugh. Put some more parts in there. Let's get this rinsing. I'm gonna start doing triple tasking. It's definitely one of the things in the brewery that I collect a lot of, which is just a bunch of buckets. Do you ever harvest or yeast for reuse? All the time. Yeah. So EJ, what you can't see behind me, which I'll do a video probably when I get to the new house, is I've got a mini lab. So I've got a microscope, yeast cell counter, all that kind of fun stuff, plates. And then I've got a separator flask, which allows me to separate the yeast off of the bottom, which is really, really, really helpful. So the cool thing about these conicals is I'll just take off yeast off the bottom. I'll wait till some beer gets in there, then start doing some separation. Or if I'm ready to do another batch, I'll just transfer it off right into a new batch. But yeah, the problem for me is I switch styles a lot. So if I get a consistent, if I really want to use a consistent yeast for a couple different batches, that's when I'll try to schedule and time them so I can just transfer them right away. Otherwise, I'll make sure that I package it up. See if I got one available. Oh, let me grab it out of the cooler. So I use Nalgene bottles. They're incredibly helpful, and they stay clean to just keep all my yeast happy and healthy. And then for banking, I use just these little vials. So I've got some Kvike, all little yeast here. I'd like to bring this back up to health about once a year, so I'll just do a quick little small beer. And then, no, I don't have a biology background. I have a little bit of a tech background, and I work with a bunch of engineers for my day job, so that kind of helps. But I've also just got a curious mind, so I do a ton of reading. All right, so that's there. Let's get some water in here for rinsing. There. Where did I put that? The one thing that I wish they would include with this 2-barrel is you need a DIN fitting wrench. Otherwise, you won't be able to get the racking arm off. So I wish that was included, especially for those that don't have any DIN fitting stuff. I like it. Holds on there very, very well and allows me to move stuff around, but getting it off is kind of a pain without one of these. Buckets on buckets on buckets. The other thing, the top seals are, you gotta make sure that they're seated really, really well. Otherwise you'll have a CO2 leak. I've gone through a few tanks with not knowing that there was just a tiny little ripple in that silicone seal. So making sure everything's tight before I get all that hooked up is incredibly helpful. All right, where are we at? I think it's time to assemble. Wow. Dude, that's a really good opportunity. I will say, if you're ready to make the jump, I know it's scary, but if you want to go heads in, just do it. I'd love an opportunity to have a space, especially like, I mean, why I started in this garage was just from not having to dive in. I really enjoy my day job. And I wasn't ready to make the full commitment into doing the brewing. So this allows me to still maintain my job, not have the crazy overhead of a lease every single month, and still allow me to produce as much beer as I'd like and at the quality that I want. But I mean, I will say from a business standpoint, because I don't actually have a tap room, revenue-wise, I don't make as much as if I would have a tap room. So distribution only, you don't make as much as you would from pint sales. It would also be amazing to get direct feedback from your customers in a tap room environment. I do get feedback when people come here, get growler fills and stuff like that. And then I get feedback through Untapped, which has been a really nice way of getting that, of seeing what people like and what people don't. But it'd be nice to just be able to hand someone a beer, have them taste it, and tell me if they like it or not. Okay, which is a tech. Yeah, so the craft beer pie, it's nice. I don't have it fully built out to like automate valves. I also have this like paranoia that something's gonna leak, because I'll tell you right now, every brew day I've had, one thing goes wrong. Whether it's I forget to close a tri-clamp and all of a sudden I got wort on the floor, or I blow a circuit, or just something small. So being present for most of it is valuable. So the electrical aspect, I kind of grew up with my dad being a general contractor, knowing a lot of that kind of stuff. So that helped. But then I also really just did a ton of research. Check out Electric Brewing on YouTube. They're a really valuable resource when it comes to some of the configurations and control panels. The actual other control panel stuff. So if you want just a plug and play one, Hosehead makes a really great one. It doesn't have a screen or any kind of interface, so you have to hook it up to a keyboard and a TV via HDMI. But it's a plug and play one that you can run Craft Beer Pie on easily. 50 amp outlet to run 2 elements. They do have an extension if you want to run more, meaning if you want 100 amp. So they have the ability to control 4 elements at once. So I kind of like my configuration where I've got one in my rims tube, and once I'm done with mashing, I'll swap that out and I'll move it over to my boil kettle, so I can actually do 50 amps on one circuit, and then I've got it configured not via Hosehead in my custom built one, one via my 25 amp, so that way I can actually have 3 elements going on in the big huge boil kettle. I will be doing a whole video on building your own control panel, because I sold my previous Hosehead with my previous setup, so I've got to build a new one, which is a benefit to me. It allows me to actually build the one that I want. Something that I can expand if needed. Cool. Okay, bottom out. Yeah, and if EJ, if you follow me on Instagram, you can definitely reach out with any questions. All right, there's that. Wrapping. Clamps on, clamps on, clamps. Oh, awesome. Yeah, sorry that I haven't made a ton of videos lately. It's just the life has been a little wild with the holidays, and then announcing to our friends and family we're having another kid, and selling the house, buying a house, producing beer. Making videos on top of that has been a little bit behind, but I'm hoping to catch up in the new space, and then also do a lot more of these live Q&As, just because I think it's easier to answer a lot of questions, show stuff in real time, talk through any questions, concerns people have. Boom. I will probably do a live brew day at some point as well, but I'll be probably in the new house. Cool beans. Plant. Or gaskets. Can't have enough silicone gaskets. That and tri-clamps. It's where I feel like I do a bucket of cleaning of tri-clamps every batch. Just tri-clamps. Not even all the fittings. Oh yeah. Got to get out the big carb stone for this guy. Oh, sun decided to come out. So with the 2-barrel, this is the size of the carb stone. It's kind of intense, but it works really, really well. I hook it up to a quick disconnect. I get these from Freshwater Systems. Found the best price for these guys on Freshwater Systems. All right. Get that sanitized. Yeah. And I'll show you in comparison. Let's see here, where's the other one? Oh, here's the other one. This is the size for the 1 barrel. Very different. And I will say the one for the 2 barrel works probably 10 times better. It's a lot easier to clean. So if they made if SS made an accessory that looked very similar to this or the same method for the 1 barrel, I'd probably end up buying those because they're a lot easier to clean. Okay, let's get this guy on. It's always nice to have an analog thermometer. I have digital sensors that go up to my Raspberry Pi, but it's always nice. Just double check stuff. Okay. Sample port. Throw that out here. Hopefully my Zuko's in here. If I'm still cleaning it. Tight space in here. There. Aha, there it is. Nice and clean. Okay. Is there a range and startup costs? What? For equipment, for just brew equipment or full build out and whatnot. And are we talking production or are we talking tap room? Okay, so just equipment. I mean, the cool thing is if you wanted to start at a 1 barrel and build your own versus just buying an off-the-shelf setup, you can save a lot of money. I think my previous 1 barrel system, which was 2 55-gallon custom kettles from Spike, which I think were around 700, 750 each, plus some elements, rims tube, all that kind of stuff was, I think in the range of $3 to $5 grand for the hot side, including a chiller, all that kind of stuff. Cold side, I think these things are, the 1 barrels, I think are around it's been a while since I bought these. So I think the 2 barrel was almost $4 grand. The 1 barrel unit tanks were, I think, about $2 grand, maybe a little bit more. So I think all told, if you budgeted maybe 15 for a 1 barrel, 25 for my 3 barrel, you'd probably be in the range. Then you got to remember that, like, the moment you start going commercial, you got all these accessories like that add up like crazy. So my carbonation tester, I'll show you that guy. So like my tap right carbonation tester was like $300, maybe more. Then you've got your packaging, which you get from GW Kent, and that thing's like $250, which is basically a Sankey keg sputting valve. So like the little stuff just starts to add up, and then it's like, do you want your own lab? It kind of comes down to preference and what you want to do with it. Sorry, it's a little bit of a wide answer there, but I hope it helps a little bit. I think if I were to do it over again, I would probably still go down the similar route. I started with a 1 barrel system. I just realized, hey, my time is a little bit precious, so I decided to go to a 3-barrel. I went with stout. They got a really good price on these 2 kettles. I also stuck with a 2-vessel system versus a 3-vessel system, and just decided to get an instant hot water tank. So that's my instant mash water and whatnot. That saved me space, saved me money. And I just kind of hacked an off-the-shelf one, so I can still get 170 out the tap. So that's helpful. All right, sampling port. All right. Only thing left. Pressure gauge. Should get some sanitizer on that guy. Cleaned up. Okay. Let's see. So much cleaning to do. All right. Need my PRV. Must be in my cleaning bucket. One of 3 cleaning buckets. All right. Back right off. And other side. Some parts are done. Woohoo! Yeah, that bucket warmer, it is a lifesaver when it comes to just keeping cleaning products ready to go. Hot. That did get hot. I think it's about 170. These guys are helpful, but still gets hot. There we go, PRV. Get this thing rinsed off. And then sanitizer. I'm gonna get my 3-inch track clover. That sanitizing and a gasket for that bad boy. It'll be nice to get this thing transferred out, and been waiting for this beer to get done. So, pull off a little sample. Love to. So this is my Brett Saison that I actually did primary fermentation in a red wine French oak barrel that has been used in a winery nearby for a few years. Oh, that's so fun. Super fun. It actually has a lot of wine character to it. Yes. Yeah. If you don't have a beer now, you need one. Oh, that's super fun. Might need another layer though. I might want to dry hop some more. A lot of wine on the nose. Wow. Yeah, might want to dry hop that. And then to figure out what to dry hop it with. So it's got a lot of wine characteristic. PRV set up. They're almost ready for transferring. Got to sanitize the whole vessel. That's a 2-incher. There you go. The silicone gaskets do not want to hang out. Oh, I can't even put that on there yet. We'll leave that off. We'll leave that sanitizing for now, because I've got to actually do a CIP in there. Some Sani-Clean. All right. All right, that's all set up. Now, oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, a good friend of mine. You can follow him on Instagram. Called I think his tag is Robot Soda. He did the whole branding for me, and he knocked it out of the park. I mean, I was going for this. So because I'm in a residential area, that's how I got Lost Bear. We have a lot of black bears that kind of roam around. Because it's a rural, like very out in the woods residential area, but they show up in people's backyards, and our entire neighborhood Facebook feed is always filled with black bears. And then also it's kind of lost that a brewery is in a residence. So that's kind of the how it kind of came to be. And I've got a bunch of Scandinavian, Norwegian roots, so I really wanted something a little bit Nordic, and then a little bit geometric from the bear perspective. So yeah, he knocked it out of the park. So go follow him on Instagram, Robot Soda. He's awesome. Where is my It's the other thing with a small little brewery and moving. Nice. Is I can't find anything anytime, especially when I'm moving. All right, let's get this rinsed. Let's take this off. Make sure there's nothing in there. So EJ, where are you from? Oh, okay. Down in Texas. Nice. I got some family in Austin, which I don't think is close to there. Sorry, I don't know. I don't know where everything is down there. But a deep South Texas. Right on, man. Okay. That's all hooked up. Closed, open, closed. Okay. The big guy. When I talk about tri-clamps, this is for the 2-barrel. It is huge. Just massive. Yeah, it's enormous. It's got 4 different sections that all clamp together. Okay, so 3-hour drive to Austin. Oh, nice. That's not too bad. Okay, before I do that, one thing with the gasket is I found what really works well is if you get it wet. It seats a lot better. So I just dip it in my Sandy Clean. Sometimes just putting it on the top is easier too. These things are not light either. That was the other design thing I've got with this is just like, I think this 2-barrel weighed 400 pounds. I mean, it arrived on a pallet and it was gorgeous, but it was still 400 pounds. So muscling it into this tight space was not the easiest of things. Okay. All right, so that is all seated. Now, oh yeah, let's get all that in there. Let's actually do the rinse. Close up my bottom. Here and here. Make sure all my things are tight. Closed, 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 open, closed, closed. All right. All right. Don't you fall. Okay, so now what we want to do is I want to use my big pump. It requires a little disassembly over here, behind the scenes. Ugh. All right. Here, maybe. Yeah. Just gonna get this guy clean. Quick little rinse on this guy. Pretty clean, but I'm a little paranoid when it comes to cleaning, so just like to make sure all my stuff is clean, all my stuff is sanitized. So this guy, so I ended up getting the one with triclover fittings. I'll try to figure out exactly where I ordered that from, but it's fantastic. It's helped dramatically when it comes to cleaning. This is my only thing I use this thing for is cleaning. All right, dabbed up. All right. Now I think I'm going to use the big guy here. So I got to transfer from the barrel. So, let's grab some other. Need a different trim clamp for that. All right. So that's all set up. I'm going to do CIP with SaniClean. Tight, 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 tight. All right. Open up the bottom valve. Now it's clean. So I'll do that for about 5 minutes. Let it get all clean. And then I'll run it through my barrel transfer, make sure that that gets nice and sanitized. And then we'll try to start transferring. So I think I need, we're going to do that exactly like that. Let's see what I got. Where would I put something like that? We're ready. Sequence is in there. So, biggest trick at this point, I haven't used my my barrel transfer tool yet, so I need to figure out how to get my CO2 hooked up to it. That's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm gonna see if I can have an adapter. I always ended up keeping little parts here and there. Backup Raspberry Pis. Even have my old pin locks. That won't work. I need like it's about a 3/8 bar. That's not helpful. I wonder if I can just make it work with my best friend is silicone tubing. It seems to be able to work with everything. Let's see if I can get that to fit around it. Not using a ton of pressure, so this could work. Yep. Silicone tubing for the win. Now just to sanitize this guy, and then I gotta figure out how to convert the sizes. But that'll work. This guy should be done up there. Then just for due course, hook it up to this guy. Make sure everything is nice and sanitized. $143. All right. All right. This guy's almost done. Internet. Let that kind of settle back in here. All right. Now hook this up to the transfer. Make sure that this thing gets nice and sanitized. And then it just goes right back in the bucket, so I'm not wasting any sanitizer. Woo! Again, tri clamps. Love-hate relationship with those. See if some pressure can change that. Just let that sit in the line. So it's slowly filling up. So once you get it started, it kind of starts drawing it out of the tank anyway, so I don't have to use the pump. But it's helpful in terms of going slowly through here, making sure that this whole tube is really, really well sanitized, because I don't want to put it in the barrel with potential contaminations or bugs on it. So this part is pretty critical. Okay, it's almost all the way through. That will come out of there. Swap this out. PRV stands for pressure relief valve. Meaning if this thing gets too high of a pressure, let's say my CO2 is just not, my gauge on there is just not correct, this will save it from exploding the tank and relieve some pressure. It's also good if I have my blow off tube closed, start fermentation, it starts building up. Saves it from becoming a catastrophe. Cool. So there's that. I always like keeping a little bit of these buckets around. They help, especially if you don't have floor drains. All right. Fair bit of foam out of that guy. So SaniClean is an anti-foam cleaner, however, still kicks out foam, just not as much. Put the sponge back here, that'll soak everything. The one nice thing about my garage is the floor is sloped, so all the water still does go down to one of the walls. So if I had drains, it'd be great, but I don't. Next one. All right, I'll let all this foam come out of there before we start transferring. Make sure this thing is all clean. Sanitize, the bung, done. All right, now do I have one that has that? I suppose I could cut that off. Always making modifications, always. This will help me convert the bigger silicone down to my gas line. Cool. Looks like foam is almost done. We'll give it a couple more minutes here. Meantime, I'll unhook this, make sure we got no sanitizer in the lines. Keep that in there, keep it nice and clean. All right, cool. That is good. I'm even gonna put the other end back into the sanitizer just to keep it a nice closed loop while I'm waiting for all the foam to drop out, which looks like we're pretty good. Time to hook this thing up. So I'm gonna hook up a sight glass up to the top just so I can view the product of the beer as it's going from the barrel to the tank, both from a clarity perspective and then also just being able to make sure that it's moving, making sure I'm putting enough CO2 pressure or counter pressure to transfer the beer in the line. So nice little small little sight glass up here. The top. I could do it at the fermenter end, but I feel like this is a little bit closer to me where I'll be controlling it. Not really going to be looking at the fermenter. I'm going to let that kind of just fill up on its own and just monitor this. It'll also allow me to know when to stop. So once I see air coming out or a bunch of yeast or something like that from the bottom, I know that it's time to turn off the gas, close up the fermenter, start cold crashing, or if I want to, add some dry hops. Okay, that side is good to go, with the exception of the gas. So time to get that thing set up. All right. Okay, so I'm only going to use probably around 3 to 5 psi to transfer this thing. For a couple reasons. One, I don't want to move the product too fast, and then I also don't want my makeshift silicone to pop up. So now that that thing's good to go, I'm going to connect the other side of this guy. We'll get this transferring underway. All right. As you can see, it's been almost 2 hours of just cleaning and prepping for this. The one thing with a bigger brewery is there's always lots of stuff to clean. All right, now it's officially time to start transferring this thing. I'm going to rework the camera here so everyone can see. Clear up some of the mess on this side of the counter. Bunch of parts and stuff that I'm going through before moving. Always tools all the time. All right, so these things are really cool. These big old bubblers. They actually make them for barrels. I found that on more beer. It's come really handy. It's kept out everything, allowed it to ferment. Take this bad boy out. Smells great. Got that right in the kitchen sink. Now we'll take this. And bring it right in here. Cool. All right. Transfer's all hooked up. Now for some gas, and we'll see what we get. Again, first time doing this, so if this explodes all over me, you all get to see. Okay, opening it up. See if we get any product through. It's building up a little bit of pressure. There it goes. Product is moving nice and gently. Just the way I like it. It's good. All right, so I qualify that as a success. Open this bad boy up more now. The beer didn't have a ton of nose on it, so I'm not too worried about any kind of CO2. I purged the thing once, but maybe I'll do that one more time before transfer any more here. Just limit any kind of O2. I'll fill this guy up. Nice. Yeah, so I'm just going to purge that with a little bit of CO2. Forgot to do that. Oops. But before I get any more beer transferring, I'm going to do that real fast. Just get any kind of nice little CO2 layer on in the fermenter. I probably maybe even only transferred about a pint. So getting a little bit more CO2 in there, nice little layer, will keep it from oxidizing during the transfer. So far, this thing works out pretty well. And so far, no yeast pickup, which has been awesome. Should be able to wash that out pretty well. I want to get to the point where I'm going to start doing some Soleras in here, meaning I'm only going to pull off about a barrel, and then I'll bring in some new ones. But since I'm moving breweries, I'm just going to empty the whole barrel into the unit tank and then start over. Okay. Got a nice little layer in there. All right, we are transferring. That is a beautiful beer. Now we're picking up some product. Keep it off the bottom. There we go. Cool, and I'm transferring at about 8 psi. But it's nice and clear. Not too worried about clarity. I'm going to cold crash it in there, but it's nice to have not a ton of yeast pickup. with that, I'm gonna actually sign off since this is basically going to take a little while to transfer. I'll plan on trying to do some more videos soon. I'll do another live Q&A. I've got to clean this guy after anyways. And then, yeah, I'm excited about the new house, the new opportunity, the new more space. We'll kind of go from there. EJ, good to chat with you. Everyone else that logged on, I really appreciate it. If you have any additional follow-up questions, feel free to post it in the comments below. Otherwise, look for another Q&A. I'll make sure I blast it out a little bit more on social before. Anyway, have a great weekend, everyone, and I will see you soon.